6 months after purchasing our first home, I remember having to tell my husband that I had just been laid off. And even though my job was having layoffs, I didn't expect to be laid off, which is the case for most people. And despite being upset, frustrated, and even angry, I was still grateful for the fact that we had taken financial steps so that this was less of a financial crisis. So I want to share some steps that you can take to financially prepare for a layoff in case you're faced with one. Hey guys, it's Fo from MamaAndMoney.com, where I teach you how to make and manage money to become financially free. Here's the truth. A layoff is scary, especially if you cannot financially afford to lose an income. And let's be honest, that is the case for most families. So wouldn't you have less anxiety if you were financially prepared? Well, the good news is that you can be with the steps that I'm about to share. So let's dive in. So I'll be honest, our saving grace when I got laid off was the fact that we had spent the prior years paying off debt. So for us, that was my student loan debt. So if I were to give any advice for someone who is trying to financially prepare in case of a layoff, I would say pay off your debt or as much debt as possible while you are still employed. Here's the thing, the less debt that you have, the less expenses you have to worry about if you were to lose an income. It is less stressful, and you just really don't want to have debt lingering over you while you're also trying to figure out how you're going to ultimately replace your income. Now, I just did a video on how you can pay off debt fast, and I'll link that in the cards for this video. But the first step is paying off as much debt as possible so that you don't have to worry about owing anyone anything while you're trying to get a new job and kind of get back on your financial feet. The next suggestion I will make is to save. I would honestly say the next best thing to paying off our debt was actually having money set aside for emergencies. Now, of course, this is something that you can balance between paying off your debt, but you want to make sure that you're also putting money aside to save for those unexpected expenses, and in this case, the loss of income. Now, the rule of thumb here is typically to have 3 to 6 months worth of your expenses put away in a savings account. However, I would say that that is just a rule of thumb. The more you can save, the better off you will be. But if you need a minimal threshold, save at least 3 months worth of your expenses. So I'm curious, how many months worth of expenses would you need to have saved to feel comfortable? Let me know in the comments. Now, in addition to having an emergency fund, I would also recommend that you use this time to also put money away in a health savings account if that's available to you. So the last thing that you want to have to worry about is also paying for medical expenses when you are no longer on your company's insurance plan. So while you can, put some money away in your health savings account so that if you were to be laid off, you would still have access to those funds to pay for qualified medical expenses. Speaking of which, the next thing that I would recommend that you do is to get your medical exams. So you want to make sure you take care of those yearly exams. If you're a woman, you want to take care of those eye exams, those dental exams, all those annual exams that you would typically get, and any procedures that you need to get taken care of. So if you've been putting off that surgery or whatever procedure it is that you've been needing to get, now is the time to get it while you are insured with your company, which is usually the case. Because at the end of the day, these aren't things that you want to pay out of pocket or have to worry about later on. So get it while you are insured. Now, the next thing is I'm always of the belief that you should never have all of your eggs in one basket. After that layoff, I was very bullish about making sure that my side hustle was able to grow and be a viable option for ultimately replacing my income. So if you haven't started a side hustle or a side business yet, I strongly recommend that that is something that you do. You don't want to have all of your eggs in one basket, and you want to be able to easily pivot to something that's already generating revenue so that you can put more effort into it so that it could replace your income if necessary. Now, here's the thing. You can have a side hustle and choose not to pursue it full time if you lose your job, but it is a great option to have an additional stream of income just in case. Now, even if you don't pursue it as a full-time venture, if you lose your job, it can be something that you use to pay off that debt and also put that money away for savings so that if you were to get laid off or lose some income, you don't have to worry about then trying to have money in savings or have to pay off debt. You've already taken care of that with your side hustle, and now this can be some income that comes in while you're looking for a new job. If you haven't thought about a side hustle or starting a business, I strongly recommend it. In fact, what you see now is the side hustle and business that I started while I was working and I was able to pivot into later as my full-time career. So even if you don't want to be a full-time entrepreneur, have a side business that can help bring in income to help you save that money, fund that emergency fund, and help you reach other financial goals, and to be a buffer if you were to lose your income. Now, of course, I got tons of side hustle ideas over on the blog. I'll leave a link for some blog posts in the description of this video for you to check out. So those are my recommendations of things that you can do to financially prepare for a layoff. At the end of the day, no one wants to be laid off. No one expects to be laid off, but in reality, it happens. So you may as well be prepared. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with someone else who could use this information. And until next time, I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.